Welcome to lecture 2 of programming in C. Uh, so yesterday we stopped at different data types. So basically the question asked is which is the following are the valid data types in C. If you remember, we have learned about int, float, string, char, and if you go through this list, you will find that the correct answer is int, float, double, and char because that is what we all used yesterday in the program. Uh, so I guess all of you have already installed the software code blocks, and for those which is not running, they can use currently a online C compiler. Any will do. So what you have to do for that, you go to your Google website and type something called as online C compiler.
सर मेरा वो कल कोडिंग का वो मतलब मैंने 16.0 वर्जन डाउनलोड किया।
Okay, उससे हो गया सॉल्व?
हाँ हो गया।
Oh, that's great. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess you can go for this particular online C compiler. And there are many more, but you can choose any one of them. CodeChef is one of the most popular one. And here, surprisingly, the code is already there. So you can just try running it and you see your output within some minutes. So for those, I don't think there will be anyone now, but if there is someone, can go to this website. I will share this link to your chat box also. And please go through this link, particular link. So let's go back to the correct answer. Now we have seen in the correct answer is int, float, double, and char. Now we go into the details. We are breaking down the program as something called as variable. Variable you can assume as something which can hold a space like a box. Okay. In box you can put maybe a cup, a dish, a ball, anything. Basically, variable is any number or a quantity that can be measured or counted. And why the name variable? Because the things inside that will not be always constant. So there could be variables declared, but they are assigned a fixed value. They are called static. Then there is something called as type of the variables, which we already study. So it's the name in which the area is reserved in the memory. So if you say variable A, there will be some area reserved for A. Then let's say there are some rules. Yesterday, I forced you to write your program name test.c. Some of you might have not done it. There is a reason why we name particular program in a certain manner. So I will tell you the basic rule that applies for all the programming language. You should never start your program. Um, I guess someone in the meeting is trying to mute me. Please don't do it. Uh, so one code is basically .c. If you try to write, it's not a good practice. Other students, please let me know if I got muted in between. Anyways, this lecture is getting recorded, and anyone who is doing this will also get traced back later on in the what we call history of this meeting, and then I might take some action against that fellow. So please don't do it right now. Second thing is if you try to write code number. So what is the mistake in this kind of naming is you have given a space bar and space bar is not allowed in the name. So typical characteristics of this is you can write something called as if you still want space you can put underscore, that is the best practice. So remember some of the rules: never start with a number, Never give a space. Third thing is you cannot write a code which is a standard word like sine.c, because it's highly likely that your C program will have this function, and if you write a program with same name, the C program might get confused which C program to compile and run. So don't use any standard name which could be a mathematical function like exponent, sine, cos. Don't use any name like if. You cannot write if.c because it's a keyword in C. So whatever commands we are using, like printf, uh, again, printf is a command. So you cannot write your program title printf.c. So yesterday, that's why we specifically wrote test.c. Now, what is the problem with this naming? You remember this will be applicable for all the languages. Huh? So if you name your program something like all good, and there is no mistake in the code, there is nothing wrong, but still your code is not running because there is a space in the name, but compiler doesn't throw an error for this. It will compile, but your output doesn't come. And many of the programmers who are just beginning don't know these basic rules of naming the file, and that's why they make a mistake. So you can have a habit of naming just like what I used to do. Code CODE on, and then you give your date, that is 9th, sorry, 4th September. So that is the kind of naming you can follow, naming tradition, you can say. It's not mandatory to use similar kind of things, but you can do that. So let me just clear thing. So you can use this kind of naming, which is what I used to use. So let me just increase. So you can write code on and just give the date. So let's say 4 SCPT. So इससे आपको दो चीजें याद रखती है कि ये आपने कोड कब लिखा था वो भी आपको याद रह जाता है, एंड जनरली आप उस डेट पे क्या किया होगा वो आप टाइम और उससे ढूंढ निकाल सकते हो. तो ये एक तरीका है. अदरवाइज you can also go for something like Monday, but that will limit to yourself, like Monday 4th September or Friday 4th September.c. So this is the way you can write your codes, but make sure that you don't name your code as Monday.c again. Because why not? Because it's a special word. So any English word, try to avoid. You can give your own name, like I can write NINAD.c. That's okay. So this is the kind of programming experience we can use while naming. Unfortunately, no one will tell you this, that you have named your file wrong way, not even your compiler or programs, and everybody just shuts down. No error is thrown against this kind of mistakes. And that's why always try to follow a habit of having a standard name to your code. So yesterday we wrote test. So today you can write test1.c and so on. And throughout this course, you can keep on writing test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. But only issue is then you should have somewhere mapping that test.c code was for C programming. Then we wrote yesterday the second code where we find out the length of each variable, that is num, var, then something called as, I guess, character, then float and double. So let's go to the slide and see what is the next program we have. So today it's the program about declaring the variables. So hash include stdio.h is the first line we need to type. Then we have to type int main, loop open close, then declare two integers a and b, then declare a float with salary, then declare a character z, then when they do the addition of a and b, so a equal to 8, b equal to 34, int c equal to a plus b, and then print percentage d slash new line c, that is the addition of two integers, then print salary, and then finally print later. Now here you will see that this %d is what yesterday we were using, because we were sure that the answer will be in form of the number. But since I know this is a float, float stands for f, so that is %f. Well, so whenever you have a space holder for a float variable, instead of %d, you have to write %f. Okay. Now D generally they use for digits, and that's why they assigned a character to it. So %d is for your integer variables and %c is for character. So it should ideally print 42, 56.23 and Z. So let's try out this example and I will stop recording, and if you have any doubts you can ask.
Sir, are we required